Monkey.
Now, this weekend, there's an up-and-coming rematch. I wouldn't necessarily say it's highly anticipated, maybe because of George Kambosos and the promotion. Kambosos has been very quiet, you know, in the lead up to this rematch, probably because he's not as confident. George Kambosos has come out and said stuff like, if I don't beat Devin Haney, I might retire. This might be the end for me in boxing. And he's made a lot of money, so credit to him. And even though I feel like he's got a lot of fight left in him, if that's what he wants to do, he can do that. Now, I suspect Devin Haney dominates George Kambosos similarly to the first fight. However, what I do hope is that Kambosos is able to apply some effective pressure. And if Kambosos applies a little bit more pressure, we can see different tools in Devin Haney's arsenal. Because Devin Haney pretty much beat Kambosos off the jab in the last fight. But if Kambosos is more aggressive, we can see Devin Haney's right hand, we can see, the level of Devin Haney's punching power, and we could compare it to Teofimo Lopez's punching power. We will be able to see, left hooks, uppercuts, and all of those different type of punches, because we really didn't see much of that from Devin Haney. And that's not his fault, because the jab was enough in the last fight. I'm hoping in this fight, it's a situation where Devin Haney is going to have to use a lot more tools in order to defeat Kambosos. Devin Haney has got a fantastic left hook. He's got a pretty good uppercut as well. He often likes to use his lead left hook, similarly to Floyd Mayweather. And I suspect Devin Haney, similar to the first fight, is going to try to box at distance, use his jab. But in general, as I've said before, let's just hope Kambosos is able to make the fight a bit more competitive. I feel like there was a huge shift in Devin Haney from the Kambosos fight in comparison to the Jojo Diaz fight and the Jorge Linares fight. And let me explain what I mean by that. In the Jorge Linares fight, Devin Haney was winning comfortably. His boxing skills looked tremendous. He was boxing beautifully around the ring, but he had a lapse in concentration. Devin Haney stood in the pocket and he tried to bang with Jorge Linares. And Devin Haney, whilst he does have good inside boxing skills, he's most effective on the outside, and he got caught and he got stunned by Jorge Linares. In the Kambosos fight, Devin Haney didn't take any risk at all, and he didn't need to take risks because his jab just kept Kambosos, on the back foot the entire fight, really. And in the Jojo Diaz fight, I don't feel like Devin Haney was landing as cleanly as he did in the Kambosos fight. So, in terms of Haney's best performance, at the top level, I would say it was the Kambosos performance. I did like the Linares performance, though he did get stunned, pretty badly in, I think it was the 10th or the 11th round, but he won virtually every other round. He probably even won that round, to be honest. That's how dominant he was in the Jorge Linares fight. So, yeah, in terms of Devin Haney's best performances, it's between his performance against Jorge Linares and his performance against George Kambosos. Because he was slow, slick defensively in the George Kambosos fight, I'll say that is his best performance. But let's just hope, like in the Jorge Linares fight, we can see more punch variation from Devin Haney in this fight. Listen, if George Kambosos does not pressure Devin Haney, does not force him to do certain things, then Haney is just going to win off his jab again. So the incentive is really on George Kambosos as the challenger, someone who's fighting in his home country, to bring out the dog in him and to really pressure Devin Haney. Don't let Devin Haney have it all his way. But even with that being the case, I still feel as Haney is too slick. I've said numerous amounts of times that in terms of boxers I'm most impressed with of this era, it's probably Devin Haney. Devin Haney says this a lot, and Bill Haney, his father, also says it. They say everything except let's fight, and that's true. Devin Haney, he was always pressing all of the champions from Gervonta Tank Davis. Well, Tank Davis was an interim champion. He never had a real belt. He was pressing guys like Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez, George Kambosos, all when these guys had the belts. Haney was saying, let's fight, let's fight. He found it very difficult to get fights with some of the champions in his divisions, but fortunately for him, he was able to get Kambosos, and he really schooled Kambosos. You know, Devin Haney has the potential to go down as not just one of the greats, but he has the potential to be as one of the all-time greats, not just a great in his era. That's how good I see him. You know, I see Devin Haney on the same level as Shakur Stevenson. For me, it's between Haney and Stevenson in terms of, you know, who is going to be the future pound-for-pound #1 in boxing. So yeah, my prediction for this fight is going to be a unanimous decision for Devin Haney. Yes, it's going to go the distance. I don't think there'll be a stoppage. You know, if Kambosos really wants to pressure Devin Haney, you know, you could see Kambosos throwing punches out of range. I could see Kambosos missing Haney, Haney making him pay, and maybe Devin Haney can get a late stoppage. Though the late stoppage is predicated off the assumption that, you know, Kambosos is going to pressure Devin Haney and really try to win this fight. If he's not that ambitious, then it's going to be a unanimous decision. And, you know, if you had to force me to pick, you know, is it going to be a late stoppage or if it's going to be a unanimous decision for Haney, I would say it would be a unanimous decision for Devin Haney, just because I don't think Kambosos would want to get knocked out in front of, you know, Australians, potentially his last ever fight. I mean, some people might argue since it's his last ever fight, he's going to give it his all. Yeah, I understand that point of view. It does make sense, but I just feel as that, you know, he'll try to pressure Haney. He'll probably feel a right hand, a left hook, punches like that, and he'll think to himself, nah, I'm all right. And he'll just, you know, try to jab with Haney. Haney will have the better of the jabs. Haney will have the better timing, the better footwork, the better hand speed. Haney is the bigger fighter, and that's going to all be advantageous to Devin Haney, and that's going to allow him to cruise to a unanimous decision victory. So yeah, that's my prediction, guys. Who do you think will win the fight between George Kambosos and Devin Haney? You know, do you agree with me? Do you see an upset for George Kambosos? Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. Alright guys, peace.